Just because you are an energy healer does not mean you are above getting triggered. I was talking to my client today, and that was the concept that we were going over because she was a little bit frustrated about all of the work that she had done, internal work, and the fact that things were still coming up. And I was like, ma'am, I get triggered every single day. The difference is I have tools and methods to help me process through that, and it doesn't last as long. I have the ability to step outside of myself and look at things objectively, but I still have to experience it. So I'm gonna give a couple of examples of that. Yesterday was Halloween, and I took my son trick-or-treating. He's about to be 13. He did not trick-or-treat with me this year. He went off with his friends and his girlfriend, which honestly, I was very excited for him. Independence, having fun. I wish I had been able to do that when I was a kid, so more power to you, okay? However, I ended up walking around with his older brother and sister, not my kids, but kind of, but you know, anyway. They're just a lot older. That's a whole story in and of itself. But anyway, so they asked me if I wanted to walk around with them, and I said yes. And as I'm walking, there's all these parents with their little kids dressed in their costumes, like they're a tiger or, you know, whatever little kids dress as. And my son dressed as a character from Superbad, which is fine. It was very funny, but not exactly giving little kid. And I was fine until I got in the car to go home, and I had a complete meltdown. I was crying my eyes out, and I was like, what the hell is going on? And I kind of stepped outside of myself. I was like, why are we feeling this? I was just crying. And I realized it's because I was going through a grieving process. I was walking around, and even though I wasn't upset about it in the moment, I'm not going to have that experience. Like maybe if my son ends up having kids, but it's still not my child as a tiny baby that I'm walking around with trick-or-treating. And that has been really special to me over the years because I wasn't allowed to celebrate Halloween, and so it was healing for my inner children as well, and it kind of just all hit me at once, and it was a lot to process. And I was explaining to her that, you know, I still got triggered and I still needed to work through those emotions, but because I have tools now, I know how to navigate those things with a lot more grace for myself. It doesn't last as long. Like, yeah, I went home and wasn't feeling the best, but I got up today and I'm doing better. And then later on, before I actually got on the session with her, I was experiencing so much fear and anxiety in my body about something that's going on in my life. And I was like, why are we feeling this way? Okay. The catastrophizing thoughts started hitting me. And when I stepped outside of myself, I said, oh, it's because we don't feel loved. I don't feel loved by my friends. I don't feel loved by my family. I don't feel loved by my community. And my higher self was like, is that true? Or do you just not feel loved by yourself because you have been not taking care of yourself in the way that you should be in the last couple weeks? I was like, oh, you got me there. And when I went into meditation, I asked myself, I'm the higher self, I asked me in the present to look in the mirror, and I said, what do you see? And all of a sudden, all this fear and anxiety, and my fear started saying things like, you're stupid and you need to work harder. If you worked harder, you wouldn't be in this place. You need to be better. You're not communicating well enough, and all these things. And I said, I hear you and I love you. Let me give you a big old squeezy hug. And she said, I want you to recognize who you have been saying that to. And when I looked in the mirror, a littler version of me came forward at like 5, and I was like, oh no, not me saying that to you. But it was coming from her, from abandonment wounds from when I was younger. And I have worked through a lot of abandonment wounds from other people in my life, like externally, but abandonment wounds of self is something that I'm still currently working on. So once I recognized that, I was speaking to all of us with so much grace and compassion and saying, hey, it's okay that we feel fear and anxiety. It doesn't mean anything negative about us. It's part of the experience. And if we really just sit in it for a minute and recognize and love it, then we'll feel better. And I had a good cry sesh, and then I got up and we did feel better. And I felt much more love deep within my soul, but I still had to go through that. I recognize it, but it doesn't mean that I'm not going to get triggered. And so I was telling her, because she has shamanic priestess templates, that if you want to be a really expansatory healer, you're going to continue to go through things. Ooh, a penny, abundance. Ooh, yes. I'm the goddess of luxury and opulence. So I have been saying as my affirmation. Okay. Reaffirming who I am. And so if you want to be a really expansatory healer, you will continue to go through the things that are triggering your clients and community and the things that you're working with, because then you understand it on a deeper level, and so you can help them. And I was telling her that I have a session that's coming up, and the person is actually going through similar things that I went through when I was having that mirror moment with me and my inner child. And I haven't had a tool like that before. It's how my higher self wanted me to go through it. And now I can impart that to her, and it'd be such an easier experience as well. That's part of being a medicine woman. You are transforming, alchemizing, transmuting within self so that you can be a leader for other people, and you're kind of out in front of whatever they're experiencing so that you can lead the way. That means that you are an incredible healer. Okay, that's a beautiful thing. And it's totally okay to continue to be triggered in your life. That's a part of the way that you grow and heal and evolve and become bigger and grander versions of yourself. It doesn't mean that you're doing anything negative or that you're not a great healer. It means you are a great healer. It means you're super self-aware. It means you really care about other people, and you recognize that this is a sacred journey when you help somebody heal. And so you're doing a trial by fire in order to help them at your greatest capacities.